when you can hear the person on the other end who's saying these things directly to you and they're saying them directly to you, that's a whole other level of harassment, really. Deplorable should not be allowed to exert.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Ethan Klein of H3H3 Productions and his podcast being suspended for 1 week off of YouTube after he threatened the NRA convention. Now, this is kind of weird, quite frankly, because I remember Ethan back years ago. He used to be the guy that would attack the left and a lot of the weird stuff they do and getting triggered and getting woke. And I feel like now he's become the left. He's become the very thing that he would parody back in the day. That's why I played that clip at the beginning, because that was the stuff that he would do. He'd be like, okay, I think that clip came from an episode about air conditioning, and they were talking about how AC is sexist or racist, and he was saying how silly that was. But now he's on the other side, just as snowflakey as the people he would parody back in the day. It's really weird. But before I go any further, let's roll the very short clip of him threatening the NRA convention. And after we get done with that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what was said there. I'll give you his response. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents and my deep, detailed analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
So there was a big protest outside the NRA meeting, which was good. Do we have any insight into what they're actually talking about there at the NRA meeting that's today in Texas? Someone should bomb that building. Mm-hmm. Someone should bomb that building. Mm-hmm. Someone should bomb that building.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, what's going on, FBI? What's going on, CIA? What's going on, federal, state government, somebody? Is that not really a threat? You know, one thing I kept hearing about the Uvalde shooting and also the Buffalo shooting and some other mass shootings that have happened, well, ones that make the mainstream media. I ain't talking about 100 kids getting shot in Chicago over a weekend. We ain't worried about that. We're worried about the people that matter when you're talking about the mainstream media as far as mass shootings. But anyway, I digress. One thing I kept seeing was people said, hey, where is social media and their responsibility here? They saw some weird stuff going on. There were some messages being sent on social media. Why can't they do anything? Why can't they alert authorities? And I saw a guy, matter of fact, on Fox talking about social media companies should be held accountable. If something is said on their platforms and they don't report it to the local authorities, then they should be punished. But I don't think that's really realistic for most accounts online, because they have next to no followers. They're not talking to anybody. There's no real person associated with it. It's not a verified account. That could be anybody. It might not even be that person who they say they are on their username or on their profile or whatever. It could be hacked. It could be anything. So it's kind of hard to just say, all right, if somebody says, I want to do X, Y, and Z to the school on social media, it's kind of hard to always look at that as a legitimate threat. And if you took all those in and scoured all of social media for that, the resources, you have to have endless resources to do it. So I'm not quite sure if that's realistic. However, if Ethan Klein, H3H3, how many followers does he have? Actually, let me see right here. So this guy has 2.3 million followers on Twitter, right? That's just on Twitter. YouTube and whatnot is probably millions more. You're talking about millions of people that follow this guy. He's a big name, been around for a very long time, a high profile person. It'd be the equivalent of, let's say, a Jim Carrey getting on Twitter and making a threat against somebody. People are going to see that. There's very high visibility. You can't miss that. Everybody's going to know. So it's easier to kind of monitor the high profile accounts than it is the billions of very small accounts that are probably not even real people, probably bots and whatnot. You understand? So when Ethan Klein says something like, hey, why don't you go ahead and bomb the NRA convention? They should probably take that seriously. They probably shouldn't just be like, oh, no, that's just him talking. I'm just saying, because I feel like people have been held accountable for things that are much less serious than that. Okay. I remember back in the day when somebody said like a joke about George Bush, or it might have been kind of edgy, but I'm not really sure. Either way, when that so-called joke went out, they had federales open up, knock, knock, knock. I saw what you just posted on Face, Insta, Snap, Twitter, Gram. What's going on with that? Oh yeah, I've definitely seen that. Okay, a lot of your police departments nowadays, they're not necessarily, well, they're going to be on the beat and all that kind of stuff, walking around in the patrol cars. But a lot of these guys on the computer, just seeing what you're talking about social media, so then they can follow you to wherever you got going on. Okay, you posted a picture in this Airbnb, and the background through the window, it was a shop and go, it was a Quick Trip, it was a Gated Mart, a Food Line, or whatever. So we were able to triangulate right where you at, recognize the interior of the room, recognize the background. We know you're at Southeast Main Street, 123 Anywhereville, USA. We coming straight to your spot. You got drugs and guns in there. Come with us. We saw the drugs and guns. Like, I'm being serious. Matter of fact, there was one story where there was like a robbery. This guy, true story. I'm gonna get the story kind of wrong, but if you look it up, I'm kind of around the same page. I think it was Pooh Shiesty, a rapper from Memphis. This guy was involved in the robbery, allegedly, where a bag of money was taken, like a big bag of money. I guess he was meeting somebody in the parking lot to sell some shoes or something weird like that. Anyway, he allegedly takes the bag of money. Now, what he wound up doing was flexing, as a cool kid say, on Instagram with this money. The police were able to identify the bills in the Instagram picture from the bag of stolen money, from the actual crime scenes. I think some of the bills might have been spilled on the ground when they peeled off. I'm serious. That's how it is nowadays. So yes, you can monitor social media to a certain extent, but not for all accounts, right? And I almost forgot, Ethan did respond to this whole thing here. So let's see what he has to say. He says, conservatives got triggered over jokes I told and mass reported me. I got banned for a week and the episode was removed. If only they cared about dead kids as much as they do jokes. So I want to say sorry. Sorry, y'all are such pathetic snowflakes. F the NRA and F Abbott. Now, what kind of joke is that? What kind of joke is, hey, bomb the NRA convention? It like, I don't really see the punchline. I don't really get the humor. I'm not really he over here. I'm just like, hey, that's like a threat. If you call somebody and say, hey, I'm going to shoot you, is that like, how should I take that? If somebody calls me and says, hey, you know what, I'm going to shoot you, how should I take that? Should I take it as a joke or should I take it seriously and protect myself and call the federales and do whatever I got to do? Probably the latter rather than the former, because they might actually try to pull up and do something crazy if they call me and say they're going to try to pull up and do something crazy, right? And when he told the so-called joke, I didn't see any laughter or any kind of signals of humor in his face. It seemed pretty serious. YouTube most certainly did the right thing to suspend him for at least a 1 week, but I feel like if this was another creator, maybe a conservative creator, it might be a little bit more serious than the 1 week suspension. And you're talking about permanent or a shadow ban or a little bit of everything. But there's more. He says, I want to make it clear that I don't advocate for violence of any kind. That is obvious to anyone that watched the segment, not just a 10-second clip that was used to misdirect attention. Republicans are now the party of dead children, and nothing can misdirect away from that. The party of dead children, huh? Like, I don't understand what kind of law you're going to pass that's going to prevent somebody from killing somebody. They're talking about background checks, all of that type of stuff. Would that kid have failed a background check? I'm sure there's background checks in Texas. And like I said, even if there's not, he was going to pass it. So what are you supposed to do? Right? And then here's a meme he posted. 19 children dying because we don't want to be slightly inconvenienced. What this means right here is banning all guns because one person was able to buy a gun legally. So all the 120 million plus gun owners in the United States with 400 million guns, we should just be, it's just like whatever. But anyway, the rest of the meme says, YouTuber making a dumb, edgy joke and immediately walking it back. Okay, so maybe in the longer clip he said, sorry, walked it back. But he looked like he was pretty serious to me. Like I said, I think YouTube had to make an example out of Ethan as well because he'll say stuff like that. But that's pretty serious, especially since you have, again, a very high profile person, millions of followers. And I think he said that right during the convention out there in Texas. So somebody, one of his millions of followers, you see something like that, and then they get bold. People are already out there protesting. You don't know what they got on them, what kind of intentions they have when they're going down there to protest. So at best, it was just very irresponsible. But at worst, that's enough to get you investigated by the federales because you're inciting violence. You're inciting a riot. Okay, people like H3H3, Ethan, his wife, they talk about, January 6th, all that kind of stuff. Oh, your president inspired a riot. Well, what do you call it when you get on social media and say, hey, bomb the NRA convention? Did Trump ever say anything like that? I think not. His whole thing was about election integrity. What's your edge? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I made a quote unquote joke. Come on, man. Like, let's be for real. The party of dead children, is that a joke too? It seems like all the things you're saying fit with each other. Bomb the NRA convention. They shouldn't be having it. They're the party of dead kids. Get them out of here. What's going on? It's crazy, but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that this was the appropriate response from YouTube to suspend Ethan's channel for a week and take the video down? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. I think it should have been a little bit more. I think if it was, I'll put it to you this way. This suspension is appropriate if other channels are treated the same way, which we know they're not. Conservative channel, I mean, we've seen all type of stuff happen. People getting demonetized for nothing, for no reason. People getting their channels banned, shadow banned, all types of stuff over the smallest of things. Okay, you're using the wrong pronouns for somebody. You calling the Jenners, the patriarch Jenner, if you know what I'm talking about. How does that work? If you are a man and then become a woman, and before the change, you were the patriarch of the family, are you still the patriarch? How does that really work? Are we going to get rid of gendered terms like patriarchy, matriarchy? Like, what's going on? Anyway, I digress. A lot of channels have been suspended, banned, shadow banned, all of that for a lot less than what Ethan did. So if we're going to have that be the punishment, and that's going to be the standard, let's let that be the same throughout. Let's treat everybody the same, not any better or any worse. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.